Hey Wildcats, it's me, Michael Albert, your ASB Vice President. Today we're going to be talking about the importance of Veterans Day and what it means to us. To me, it means putting our political beliefs aside and showing gratitude for those who have served in the military for our country. Today is not a time for politics or arguments, things that are happening right now in our country. Today is a day for honoring the veterans who have fought for our rights and freedoms. So sit back, relax, and enjoy your Veterans Day assembly.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free, and the home of the brave?
Thanks to the choir for an amazing performance. There are many people who risk their lives for our safety and freedom. Let's take a look at the veterans who have sacrificed so much for us, as well as some of their family members.
My name is Troy Garwood.
Kelly Garwood.
Anthony Knapp.
Dawn Marie Finney.
Brian Tawney.
Brian Ferguson.
Jay DeBellis.
George Townsend.
Brian Dickinson.
Mauricio Gutierrez.
Dane White.
Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Pure wisdom spoken by Nelson Mandela.
I think any young person that doesn't know if they're going to go, college or technical school, to me the military was a great way to serve and to learn a trade. For me, I needed that. I needed structure. I needed a vision, and that's where the Coast Guard and the military really came into me to make who I am today.
It's a great way to get training, especially if you don't want to go to college, to a regular four-year university. You're going to get schooling when you enter the military, and you're going to get trained very highly in whatever path you choose. And it is an excellent way to get out of your parents' house, get a really good paycheck, you get health benefits, you meet a lot of people, and you do stuff that the people that stayed behind aren't going to do. You get to do a lot of cool stuff, and if you do decide to go, take advantage of every single thing that sounds sort of cool to you.
Education is a huge thing you can get out of the military. I received 2 degrees, both my undergraduate degree, and I also received a graduate degree about 12 years after getting out of the military. So the benefits go long beyond your time in the service.
So the military background actually launched me into the executive ranks of corporate America. So I was able to have very responsible, rewarding positions in multiple major corporations. I learned to be on time for meetings. I learned to communicate effectively, write things down, and make sure it's disseminated to everybody who needs to know. It gave me skills around planning and project management. And I also picked up very strong analysis skills.
I would say the main thing is leadership that has helped me today in my work as I manage people within my field and really know how to build partnerships.
The military is not everyone's thing, and that's totally good. I think we have to own our identity and just who we are. But for those that are even considering it, I would definitely consider it, because that foundation that the military can bring to you as a person, it sculpts, your life.
I actually went into the military looking for the benefit of school, but I did get so much more out of it than just that. I did get some great school benefits. I was able to get my bachelor's student loans forgiven, and so they paid for my student loans for my bachelor's degree, and I actually got my master's while I was in, and so got a lot of great school benefits.
Our veterans sacrifice a lot on their own, but they're not the only ones. Their families also sacrifice everything that makes a normal family life. They go through these hardships and struggles for our sake, and we believe their actions deserve more than just our recognition, but our respect and our support.
So I come from a long line of military people in my family. My father was a active duty Marine for 20 years, serving in Korea and Vietnam. Grandfathers were Naval Academy class in 1924 and fought in World War II. So I have family that goes clear back to the American Revolution.
When COVID started and the pandemic started, I was kind of laughing to myself when the governors around the country started announcing the whole quarantine thing, and it was describing what that would be like, where they are directing you to stay in your house and not leave, and avoid outside contact. And I was really laughing to myself, because that's what being a submariner is all about, is you go out for extended periods of time and you are not in contact with people.
Oh, my brother, Brevik, he is in the Coast Guard. Sometimes he surprises us over the weekend when he does get to come off, and that's always super fun. We always spend a lot of time with him. He's really happy with his job, and it makes me feel good to see him that happy.
When Kelly and I were still dating, the most communication we had was she was allowed 4 or 5 family grams, and where she could send a message of I think it was more 50 or 60 words was the maximum, and it was only a one-way communication. She did not receive any communication from me for that full 100 days.
Keep those people in your hearts. It's something that I think is really important to respect those people, because they are contributing a lot, and they are, a lot of them are risking their lives.
The toll for my wife was the constant fear of, gee, is Jay gonna get home? My wife and I just met. We've been going out for a few months, got engaged and everything. And she was dropping me off at the Naval Air Station, Whidbey Island, and she was just distraught. And she called my friend Ron. He basically was like, yeah, don't worry about it. Jay's been doing this for a long time. He's really good at it. And I was like, that doesn't mean anything. My dad was really good at it too, right? So she had to deal with the constant fear. I try and maximize time with my family, because like I mentioned, when I came off it was my last deployment, but it was the first one with little kids. And my son John, who's in 10th grade there, I was a complete stranger to that kid for 2 weeks. I could just tell they were like, who's this guy?
The greatest sacrifice is when you sacrifice your own happiness for the sake of someone else.
The thing about service is it's no one, in my opinion, no one ever laid their life down for the flag. That's not why you go into these situations. You go into these situations with the guy on your left, the girl on your left, or your right, and in that moment that you're all you got, And so it's kind of even feeling like you're born to something.
You're supporting each other in live or die situations too. So that just forms a bond that you don't get when you work next to each other at a desk at Microsoft.
When there's things that go wrong, or you're put in a difficult situation, whether it's a wartime or a peacetime drill or anything like that, it becomes more about the person next to you than it is about everything else. It's in my opinion, team sports are the closest you can get to being in the military, because everybody is serving for the person next to them to reach a common goal.
You can't replicate the intensity of flying off an aircraft carrier anywhere, because even if you go to a roller coaster, nothing's going to go wrong. There's 1,000 things that could go wrong punching off the front end of a ship, And so you get a tight bond with the person you're sitting next to, the guy who's going down the cat with you, and you're going to do a mission. And, you kind of have to depend on each other to get through that situation. When I was an operations officer in a squadron, I had crew guys who hated each other, didn't get along at all. They send them out one night, dark night, crazy flight, a lot of crazy stuff happening. They come back and be best friends because you eventually figure out that we're all the same.
Working together in the live and die situations, as someone that forward deployed, it really forms a very strong brotherhood. I would say stronger. So growing up in high school, like the thing I would equate closest, I used to play football, and you feel a strong bond to those other kids that you play football with. But in the grand scheme of life, you're only with those kids, 3-4 hours a day, 5 days a week. That's a total of maybe 15 or 20 hours a day. And your end goal is to maybe reach a district or state championship, and that's fantastic. But the difference is, this gentleman that Kelly was referring to, he was kind of like my understudy. He was my C-pup is what we called him. And for 100 days in a row minimum, we would be together for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, through Christmas, through holidays, Thanksgiving, those sort of things. And, we were training to combat casualties, and we were training to launch nuclear missiles together. And our lives really did depend on each other knowing what we were doing in a way that even my own blood brother, who I love dearly, we're not that close. So when I see this guy again after several years of not seeing him, we immediately have that bond and connection that I would say really only armed forces, people that have served in the armed forces can feel and have that connection just because of the life and death situation.
Well, the bond and deep connection that active duty members have with each other is tremendous. We learn how to put our own safety on the line, if that's what it means to protect each other.
So, right, I used to tell people, like, my opinion, like, some of the biggest heroes in my world are like medical professionals. I mean, I can't even imagine someone who's been dealing with coronavirus to go into the trench every day and put themselves at risk to take care of people who are in the worst condition, and then have to go home and deal with the emotional, grind of seeing people suffer. And that's. But
I think no matter what you do, it's all collectively part of just an amazing group of men and women that are serving and just doing something that you could never do in any other capacity in any job in the world.
But what's sacred is people. The person next to you. Service is serving a cause, and a cause is serving a person. So if you're not serving people in some capacity, you're kind of missing out on the meaning of what it is to serve.
Thank you so much to all the veterans who shared their stories with us. And now, introducing the Mount Si High School Band with a special performance. Well, that's the end of our virtual Veterans Day Assembly. A special thanks to all the veterans for your time and for your service. We love the stories that you've told us, and we do appreciate you and everything you've done for us and our country. I urge all you Wildcats to try and show your appreciation to a veteran or active service member by thanking them for their service and sacrifice. And thank you, band and choir, for those remarkable performances. They were fantastic. I hope you all have a great week and a great day off next week for Veterans Day. And as always, stay classy, Wildcats.